The Corinthos Empire on the brink, Sonny, Carly, and the FBI. A tense standoff at Metro Court. The episode opens with the unmistakable, high-stakes atmosphere of the Metro Court restaurant, a location that has historically played host to some of the city's most explosive confrontations. Carly Spencer, Laura Wright, is seen pacing near the bar, her anxiety palpable despite her trademark fiercely protective exterior. Her peace is shattered when Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Benard, enters. The tension between the former powerhouse couple is immediate, thick enough to cut with a knife. For weeks, the encroaching walls of the federal government have put both of them on the defensive. But their inability to present a united front has left them deeply vulnerable. Sonny, carrying himself with the weary but defensive posture of a mob kingpin under siege, confronts Carly regarding her recent clandestine meetings with government entities. Sonny is convinced that Carly is playing a dangerous game that could inadvertently compromise his entire infrastructure. "You think you're protecting the family, Carly, but you're walking straight into a trap," Sonny warns, his voice low, gravelly, and laced with genuine paranoia. Carly fires back with equal fervor. She defends her autonomy, reminding Sonny that his recent erratic behavior and erratic decision-making have left everyone they care about exposed to collateral damage. She emphasizes that her primary motivation is not to dismantle his empire, but to ensure that their children, Michael, Jocelyn, and Christina, are not dragged down with him when the federal government finally decides to drop the hammer. The dialogue between Wright and Benard carries the heavy weight of their characters' shared history, illustrating that even when they are fundamentally at odds, their emotional gravity remains inescapable. Jason Morgan's silent vigil and Anna's dilemma. Meanwhile, at the foot of the footbridge, a classic Port Charles location for existential reflection, Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, engages in a quiet, calculated conversation with Police Commissioner Anna Devane, Finola Hughes. Jason remains caught in an impossible vice, acting as a reluctant informant under the crushing leverage of the FBI. Anna, torn between her duty to uphold the law and her deep personal affection for Jason and the Spencer family, tries to extract information regarding John Jagger, Kate's next move. Anna expresses her growing frustration with the FBI's aggressive tactics, noting that Kate appears less interested in actual justice and more consumed by a personal vendetta against the Corinthos name. Jason, ever the stoic enforcer, remains guarded. He reveals just enough to signal to Anna that a major legal maneuver is imminent, but refuses to compromise his core principles. The scene highlights the tragic nature of Jason's current existence, a man trapped in the shadows, unable to fully return to the life he loves, acting as a shield for a family that is slowly fracturing from within. Medical mystery and espionage at GH, Willow, Drew, and the Quartermain Vortex. The lab results and executive tension. Upstairs at General Hospital. The atmosphere is defined by corporate scheming and clinical anxiety. Drew Kane, Cameron Matheson, fresh off his recent political and business pivots, confronts Willow Tate, Caitlin McMullen, in the ICU corridor. The subtext of their interaction is heavy with unspoken tension following their recent, highly controversial emotional proximity. Willow is visibly shaken, attempting to bury herself in her nursing duties to avoid dealing with the complicated nature of her feelings and her loyalty to Michael Corinthos. Chad Duell. Drew, however, is laser-focused on using his influence to steer YelQ and Aurora Media through the current economic turbulence in Port Charles. He tries to reassure Willow that her position within the hospital and the family is secure, but his overbearing presence only serves to heighten her anxiety. When Michael suddenly arrives, the shift in energy is instantaneous. Michael, completely oblivious to the deeper psychological undercurrents between his wife and his uncle, expresses his gratitude to Drew for looking out for them. This creates a deeply uncomfortable dynamic for the viewing audience, as Willow's guilt is painted vividly across her face, suggesting that this particular domestic ticking time bomb is nearing detonation. Portia's crusade and the mystery patient. In another wing of the hospital, Dr. Portia Robinson, Brooke Kerr, is embroiled in a professional crisis that threatens the integrity of the institution. She is seen reviewing medical charts with an intense, skeptical gaze. Portia has been tracking anomalies in the hospital's pharmacy data and patient tracking systems, hinting at a larger covert operation operating right under the noses of the administration. Her investigations lead her to a confrontation with Elizabeth Weber, Rebecca Herbst. Portia questions Elizabeth about a series of unaccounted-for medications and a specific patient file that seems to have been restricted by high-level board directives. Elizabeth, always the professional but clearly harboring her own suspicions about the recent strange occurrences at GH, promises to look into the matter quietly. The narrative implication is clear. Someone within the hospital infrastructure is manipulating resources, possibly tied to the ongoing WSB or Pikeman storylines that have plagued Port Charles for the past year. The Next Generation, Secret Alliances and Romantic Fractures. Jocelyn and Trina's heart-to-heart. At the Bobby's Diner. The episode shifts its focus to the younger contingent of Port Charles. Jocelyn Jacks, Eden McCoy, and Trina Robinson, Tabiana Ollie, share a quiet moment over coffee, providing a grounded, emotional anchor for the hour. Trina is still navigating the profound grief and psychological aftermath of losing Spencer Cassadine, and Tabiana Ollie delivers a beautifully nuanced performance of a young woman trying to reclaim her future while honoring her past. Jocelyn, acting as the fiercely loyal best friend, attempts to comfort her. But the conversation inevitably veers into Jocelyn's own complicated romantic life. Jocelyn confesses her ongoing anxieties regarding Dex Heller, Evan Hofer, and his transition from mob enforcer to the Port Charles Police Department. She fears that Dex's proximity to the law will inevitably put him in the crosshairs of Sonny's organization, forcing him to choose between his new career and his survival. Trina advises Jocelyn to be honest with Dex, warning her that keeping secrets to protect someone's feelings almost always backfires in Port Charles. Christina's growing isolation. Concurrently at the Charlie's Pub. A heavily pregnant Christina Corinthos Davis, Kate Monsey, is feeling increasingly isolated from her family. The stress of acting as a surrogate for her sister Molly Lansing Davis, Kristen Vaganos, and TJ Ashford, Taj Bello, has taken a massive toll on her mental health. This stress is compounded by the ongoing legal jeopardy surrounding her father, Sonny. Blaze, Jacqueline Grace Lopez, arrives to offer support, but their romantic harmony is threatened by the looming shadow of Christina's family drama. Christina expresses her frustration that everyone treats her like she is fragile, while simultaneously keeping her in the dark about the danger Sonny is facing. She voices her fear that the baby she is carrying will be born into a family completely torn apart by war. Blaze tries to soothe her, promising to stand by her side no matter what. But the look of apprehension on Blaze's face suggests she knows that marrying into or associating with the Corinthos family always demands a heavy price. The strategic tapestry, plot progression, and character alignment. To fully understand the structural movement of the June 18, 2026 episode, it is useful to track where the key players currently stand on the grand chessboard of Port Charles. The episode effectively divided the town into factions based on loyalty, survival, and hidden agendas.